But even going from like 100 meters to 300 meters, there's a difference between what you can put in the clavicle for the car.
I feel confident that
It's also divided in the drop. Whereas the 30-06 is much straighter shooting out of the bar. So much easier to short target.
I've never been.
The other thing too is they have a lot of experience in training most of the time.
Nobody's ever been richer than you.
Outside,
I have no experience.
What would it take? Into detail, and they pull off the shot. They almost kind of can predict exactly where it's going to fall. I also use this scope, but taking everything else into equation.
This is important, like what he brought up, because he
Buttercup
did say that those things. He was very controversial. He was a provocateur.
The dumbest bitch on the job.
This is not a
I've never met somebody that like is so self-flagellating. Well, no, I haven't. I'm not gonna lie, but you're so like self-flagellating and like willing to talk with people that literally fucking hate you. It is the most bizarre thing.
I gave you time yesterday. Be nice.
She got the parents. She's been talking to her parents. Her parents hate her. She's used to it.
The second is nice,
Try to encapsulate Buttercup as an image, as a defender.
I'm so memeable.
Using the
Arabic speaking rooms, and I've heard that you can DM in some of the Arab men on here. Okay. Yeah.
Can I say something quickly? In regards to Buttercup photo, in regards to Buttercup photo, I wouldn't be hanging around with the Muslims with the image of a girl sharing
We
that.
were talking about her with Arabic speaking rooms, how you're adding this. Yeah, like it's not making shit up enough. I'm not. I swear to God, will not be out here. I'll screenshot all of my messages.
And that is actually how the group started. And so what he did is he put white supremacists and right-wing Jews in America in bed together. And that's where you end up in a situation where you have this like strange bedfellows of like white supremacist Nazis and right-wing Jews who, previously were like, oil and water, all of a sudden finding common ground.
So I totally agree with that.
Oh yeah, we're finding common ground with Nazis. Yeah.
Put the link I just posted in the chat.
So that they thought that would solve the issue. But instead it exacerbated the problem because people wanted to get the money. So they bred more squirrels so that they could claim that they've got the squirrels. So it's the same thing with guns, I feel like, when you're trying to, under the garb and under the guise of saying, these many crimes could have been prevented because of the gun carrying facility, your house may be safe, but someone else's kid is dying completely innocently for no fault of theirs. And it's not just one versus one. I mean, forget about the stats, forget about 1,000 years ago what the forefathers of your founding, the founders of the country said and did. I mean, we need to be up with the times. And that's the irony that on the right, the guy who was advocating for Second Amendment is the one who got shot by a gun. And on the far left, the liberal dude who is all for free speech and, all of that, human rights is the person wielding the gun if it is someone from the far left. So that's...
May I address her, please? America has abortion. India has female infanticide at the rate of 30,000, I think, a week. It's relative.
Really quick, I'm driving.
I've been waiting to say something real quick, dude. Like, I just wanted to extend Lavanya a little bit of an olive branch, and that I understand the point that she's trying to make. I'm not personally against the existence of guns, but I also don't own one, And I think that people who are in favor of, guns and the Second Amendment need to, I feel like they spin a lot of wheels, because what it comes down to is, yes, you can kill somebody with anything. It doesn't have to be a gun. You can kill somebody with a pencil. You can kill somebody with, if you're creative enough, you can kill people with a But at the end of the day, a gun is a tool that was specifically designed to be an instrument of death. And there's really no way to kind of like deny that, you know? So, and like I said, I'm not against guns, but I call it what it is. You know what I mean? It's an instrument of death.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Two things. Andre, your point is well taken. But Obama, under his administration, and I'm saying this to you too, Serendipity, it is self-reported, but his numbers vary between 500,000 crimes are prevented every year to 1.5 million. And as Serendipity said, that the 750 is underestimated. So given that, I don't think saying 1 million crimes per year are prevented by guns is an unreasonable figure to rely upon based on a crazy leftist Obama's trying to show how bad guns are and how useless they are, and yet his administration came up with that figure. So and that's significant. That means, okay, we had a school shooting 2 days ago? That's horrible. In that same day, 2,740 people prevented a crime from happening. That could have been a rape, it could have been a murder, it could have been a burglary, it could have been a carjacking, it could have been a crime where it was a carjacking and there was an infant. Or it could have been, oh, I'm really mad at you, I'm gonna spit on you, and the person pulls out a gun. But that is still significant. The proportion between the number of people who are injured and the number of people who are saved because of guns is huge and significant and important. And we don't talk about that because, something didn't happen will not make the news. As far as the First Amendment, the point of this First Amendment is so you know where the crazies are. That's why we allow the neo-Nazis or the KKK to have their free speech too. Because, okay, now we know that that's where those people are. We know how they feel. We are now aware of it. And if it's something that me as a citizen feels important enough about or strongly about, I can, and as people say, come up with a better argument. The problem is the leftists, as you point out, though, Andre, I would argue there's no longer any distinction anymore as they control the party. But the leftists came up with this lovely argument. If we let them speak, they are going to cause harm. Thus, we must not let them speak. And that opposition to letting them speak has grown more and more strong coming from the leftists. I'll continue to use your term, to the point where it is now we have to assassinate people who are saying things because we're justified, because if somebody is opposing to us, then they are causing harm by their speech, and we are so angry and so justified that we are entitled to do anything just by what they're saying. And that's what the argument has become.
So Alan, if I hang on, Joseph, hang on, please, hang on 1 second. So I have a question for Alan. So two things. First, I want to address as far as I know, unless you know information about an individual who the FBI doesn't know anything more than perhaps fingerprints, my understanding is they don't have the human being in custody, which means we don't know their political ideology. But again, you are reiterating what some folks earlier were doing, that making this great assumption. Maybe it was someone on the left. Maybe it was someone on the right. I personally don't care. They need to be held accountable for this horrendous act.
Yes.
But I just think we need to be careful making these assumptions and fueling the fire. Oh, there goes the left. I mean, people were literally putting in the chat, if the left doesn't agree with somebody, they kill them. So, hey, I know we're open.
And to Moose's point, I would just like to say that it is unfortunate to me. I have also seen conservatives make the same kind of statements that a lot of people are pointing at the leftists and saying, oh, the leftists are celebrating Charlie Kirk stuff. I've actually seen some conservatives make and mirror a lot of those same statements. So that's why I don't find it helpful in the course of the conversation to make this a left versus right issue. This isn't
exactly
evil.
Exactly. And the other thing I want to, sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
That part, Sarah.
Yeah, and I just want.
Yeah, this is an evil attack on our individual freedoms and liberties, and that is where coming together, I think that should unite everybody. It shouldn't matter if you're left or right. This is an evil attack on our liberties. It makes people feel unsafe, and that's the problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say, again, as I said earlier, I was very against pretty much most of Kirk's, what he represented, and the comments he made, again, the comment about civil rights being a mistake and such, not my guy, not someone I wanted to follow. Does he deserve a bullet? Absolutely not. So now we have a family that's destroyed with two very young kids. The other thing I want to ask you, Alan, you put out a pretty impressive numbers. I think it was over 2,000 crimes that were prevented because folks intervened with guns. I was wondering if you could provide any sort of source or link to that, because that would be helpful for the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, as I stated, it was the, I'll respond to both of those. It was Obama's administration, their report on gun violence, and it's not hard to find. So if you take, like I said, if you go from the low 500,000 to the high of 1.5 million, if you split that down the middle and take the 1 million figure, divide that by 365, you get, okay, I cheated a little. It was 2,739.3 or 7. So I added 0.5 of a human being to that figure. But that's where I got that number. That ends up being that number per day. As far as okay, so you don't see it helpful. I can understand that, and you want it to be something that unites the country. Okay, I can understand that viewpoint. If I wasn't talking about this Charlie Kirk incident, in specifically, I was talking about the rhetoric from the left in general. If you don't support trans people, you are causing harm, and you deserve to be silenced. If you don't endorse Black Lives Matter, then you are causing harm, and you deserve to be silenced. If you don't support if you don't support abortion rights, then you are causing harm, and you deserve to be silenced. This is the rhetoric that we have heard from the left for years.
Right, but if you're a transformer and clearly have mental illness, and you're the one that kills an innocent human being, then why is the trans still considered a victim in some way, shape, or form?
Correct.
They shouldn't be.
But Alan, it's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because you're right about that being rhetoric that we on the right perceive we hear from the left. But how many rooms did you see conservatives start about the Democratic senator and her husband that were shot in cold blood? You know, like this it's obtuse to think that this does not spill over on both sides of the fence.
Yes, human beings gloat, and they gloat for many different reasons. And yes, I condemn when conservatives do it. But which party has it written into their political ideology that is both?
Hello.
Yeah, hello. John, Kitover?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, hi, sir. Sir, my name is Nick Collins, and this call may be monitored or recorded. Sir, I'm calling you from Credit One Bank. Yeah. We noticed the account is past due 41 days late, sir. So,
Yeah, I saw that. It was some kind of annual fee. Can you hear me?
Sorry? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I haven't used the credit card, so I don't know what the charge is. What is the charge?
Okay, regarding this, sir, yeah, I do see that you haven't used it, but there is an annual maintenance fee, sir.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I want to just cancel the credit card, please.
Okay. So you mean you don't want to use the card anymore?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, regarding the, in this case, let me connect you with one of my supervisor so that he can also close the account, right? Since right now the account is active as well. So regarding that, let me connect you with one of my supervisor. Yeah, before I do that, sir, is there any additional number that you want to add on the phone, or this is the only one, sir?
No, sir.
Please be on the line, okay? Let's settle this out.
Hi, thanks for holding the line. I'm speaking John Kitover.
Yes.
John, this is Ben. I'm one of the manager with Credit One Bank. Reason being I came online because my rep informed me they want us to go ahead and close the card right now.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to hear that you want to close the card with us today, although we'd like to keep you as a valued customer. Well, you want to close the card because of the annual fee, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I'm going to place your request to close the account. As requested, we will close your account. Any pending transactions will still be processed. Any fees will continue to bill if there is a balance, and a monthly billing statement will still be sent with a minimum payment due. A refund will be sent within 30 days if there is a credit balance on your account. For any recurring charges, please contact the merchant to arrange an alternative method of payment. So you authorize Credit One Bank to close your card, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. As for your request, sir, your card has been closed. Just give me a moment. Yes, so currently, so the balance is reflecting on the account because when you opened the card on June 20, 2025, after that, the card was activated on July 2nd, 2025, sir. And as for the terms and conditions that you have with the bank, once the card will be activated, there will be an annual fee that will charge to the card, sir. Or maybe you're under the impression that you did not use the card and you missed your payment for August and September. So the late fee got charged along with the interest. That's why your balance is reflecting as $168.39. Would you like to go ahead and take care of this balance so we can go ahead and bring this account zero, sir?
No, sir. I had no idea there was an annual fee. I never saw that in the terms and conditions. It wasn't explicitly called out or stated. So I'm requesting that you remove the balance from the card and close the account, please.
I've already closed the account as per your request, sir, and I will be more than happy to go and work with you, but we cannot go ahead and remove the annual fee from our side. If you want to place the request for the removal of the balance, you need to speak with the customer service team. If you want, I can go ahead and connect you right now over there.
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Gillibrand was threatened. A number of other Democrats have been threatened throughout days. Others, Jasmine Crockett was recently threatened by fucking people. So this idea that it's only the Republicans and conservatives is not accurate.
Which is why, like I said, in order to move past this and not encourage like more tension, more civil war rhetoric, more us versus them. I think that the one thing collectively we should be able to agree on is that this political violence is not okay. And everybody on both sides of the spectrum are partaking in it. And that's like, that needs to be the thing that we address. We need to work towards diffusing those tensions instead of continuing to escalate them.
Serendipity, I have to go, guys. I'll just quote one thing for everybody's peace and for Charlie Kirk's family and America as a whole. There's a quote in John Stuart Mill's On Liberty, where he says, if all mankind minus one were of one opinion, and only one person were of the contrary opinion, mankind would be no more justified in silencing that one person than he, if he had the power, would be justified in silencing mankind. Peace to all of you.
To Wilson and Vicky's point is that's kind of what I was saying as well. It's really going to be respectful whether you're left, conservative, right, liberal. This man died, in my opinion, for the First Amendment. The ability to speak your mind, speak your thought, say what you have to say. And that's what I think we should focus on.
And
This man was a sacrifice to free speech.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And here is the most recent update from an ATF memo. The suspect fired one shot from an elevated position on a rooftop in an adjacent building on the campus. Surveillance videos show the suspect jumping off and fleeing the area on foot. ATF and other law enforcement located an older model imported, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Mauser .30-06 caliber bolt action rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus. The location of the firearm appears to match the suspect's route of travel. The spent cartridge was still chambered in addition to 3 unspent rounds at the top-fed magazine. All cartridges have engraved wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. The firearm is being disassembled for more information on where it was obtained. So that's the latest
So an anti-trans, that would be someone who has mental illness. Someone that thinks that they're a woman but they really have a dick. So like, to me, why does a person like that thinks that they're a whole ass woman when they have a penis in between their legs, they have a gun and they're going to shoot somebody?
Yeah, or the other way around, man. It could be.
Here's the thing.
All this boils down to is like Brad says day in and day out, like when, okay, we don't like, as a society, we don't like to talk politics. We like to talk about the oppression Olympics every day because it's like spicy and it's like, oh, like there's something new every day and someone's got some truly like funny shit to say or offensive things and people are attracted to that more. People don't want to talk about bills and like passing legislation and stuff like that. It's boring. But like, to what extent do we want to have fun? Or like listening to boring politics and actually like, make a difference. We need to stop attending the oppression Olympics, and I promise everything will be fine.
So,
how much do you think that the mic should be passed?
One at a time, y'all. One at a time. Okay.
Can you put that link in the chat where you read that?
Yes. Derisive, you can go, and then I think I saw Homer and Brad. Did you come off mute?
yes, I wonder.
Okay, so Derisive, Homer, and Brad.
How much engraving can you actually put on a bullet? It doesn't seem like it would be that much. So why would they release something that says it had this kind of rhetoric instead of just saying what was engraved on the bullet? That doesn't make sense to me.
You can engrave a piece of rice with the whole painting. I mean, it's microscopic. You can do that. It's possible. But I don't know about this particular.
There are plenty of people who had a motive to kill Charlie Kirk, and I think it's important to recognize the implications, the larger implications, right?
that it is now very, very, very easy to murder someone and get away with it with new technology, with sniper rifles, with drones. It doesn't matter what your politics are. I don't give a shit what the politics are of anyone in this room. If you are loud and vocal about your politics and you get prominent enough, there will be people that want to murder you. And there have already been 2 clubhouse murders. So I would just urge everyone who has a political opinion on Clubhouse to consider switching to an anonymous account to protect your life.
Dry, so to answer your question, it was cartridges. That's what the memo said was the spent cartridges were still chambered. All cartridges have engraved wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology.
Can I just offer 2 couple clarifications? One to Derice, if he's actually correct. I mean, I'm not discounting that. I get what they were being told, and there's a lot of information out there. I'm just waiting. I believe they caught the rifle. I don't know what's written on the shell casings. It could be. We've seen that with the school shooter that just occurred up in Minnesota. They had things written on their rounds. I don't know what caliber 30-07 is. I've never heard of that in all my years of hunting and military and handling weapons. So, and I'm probably going to guess whatever source did a typo there. I'm going to go with probably a 308 or they had a 30-06. Those are generally what we discussed yesterday and what we assumed was the calibers that were used. But there is no such thing as a 30-07. I'm letting you know.
It says 30-06.
It says 30-06? Okay.
Yes.
I thought I heard her say 30-07. So
No.
Okay, so 30-06 is pretty common. 30 caliber is probably one of the best unique around. It won us the war in World War II. It's a great round. I have multiple firearms that use it. I think it's fantastic. It works great. The 30-30 lever action is the gun that won the West. Killed more animals than any other hunting round out there. So 30 caliber is pretty potent. 200-yard shot. This wasn't a professional assassin. It wasn't Mossad. It wasn't the CIA. It wasn't the FBI. It wasn't some super sniper ranger Delta Force SEAL Team 9 advanced. I don't know who else. Whatever the Space Force has for special forces, tag them on there as well. It wasn't one of those that came out with it. It's not a high fucking invincible sniper rifle. I mean, it's one that's been used. It's not anything really particularly fascinating. It's just a round. The rifle itself, the images look like it's one that you can buy at a regular hunting store. Any scope you can buy at the counter. Bushnell is common. We go and get Gandermont and buy it. So I would get away from the conspiracy theories. No, it is not a planned professional assassination attempt. It's some fucking deluded kid who picked up Daddy's hunting rifle, had some experience with it, managed to get a lucky shot off, and no, that hit was not a professional shot. No one could ever in their wildest dreams hit the neck at that yardage with that crowd. And first off, a professional shooter wouldn't have shot over a college stadium filled with kids, and let alone be on a roof. That just wouldn't happen. If they wanted to kill him, they would have done it through a carjacking, a home burglary, or something else along those lines. It's not like it's a secret where Charlie Kirk lived. His home was all the time on Twitter.
Well, it depends, Brad, right? Because, I think that, conspiracy is not far-fetched. Some of the stories that I'm hearing are far-fetched. I'm not a gun person, so I don't know what it is to write on a bullet or write on a cartridge. But I think that if people can shoot, we won't be able to prove that it's a professional hit, right? But I figure if somebody wanted to cover this up, they would leave behind dumb, stupid shit that no professional would do, right? Write, quote unquote, write on bullets that are left behind and not actually shot, right? Because these are not the bullets that they pulled out of him. These are the bullets that they found in the rifle. Who is doing that? It seems so obvious that it's too obvious. But I think that there's nothing wrong with speculation, because this is we see how his death is being used
to stoke up, and let's not act like there are accelerationists out here that are really, their intention is to pop shit off, right? So I just don't think that, I agree with you, Brad, and I'm glad to hear you say that you're withholding, any assumptions, because like this is not the time to go up on assumptions. We need brains right now. We need people thinking and being level-headed, I believe. But yeah, I'm fascinated with this question of writing on bullets.
Yeah, how long are the casings? 30-06.
How do you write on a bullet?
Yeah, you can. This is, we've heard of this before. I'm asking how long the casing is. Is it an inch long? Then you can write on it. It's a cylinder. You can write around the side. You can write. So
I mean, it's about 2.5 inches long. 30 out there, about 2.5 inches. 2.5 inch long tape. Yeah, it's about 2.5 inch casing.
Yeah, so there's plenty of room, and this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon. They soldiers and would write messages.
Sorry, guys, get were you done?
Yeah, I just want to know. I want to know if this is really a thing, because I've never heard nor could imagine how one would write on a bullet. It was not a bullet; it was cartridges. So it was the cartridges. So that were written on paint.
Yes.
So paint or something. Correct. And what did it say?
If I
range doesn't go down range.
You guys respectfully, Alan was answering her question, and then I don't know how we got here.
I think it's so obvious that was translated like this is it's.
Okay, go ahead, Alan.
Thank you. Well, look, they probably didn't want to release the exact text for whatever reason, but they said they found the casing that was used. That's the outside of the bullet. You've seen in movies or stuff, somebody shoots something and then something gets ejected from the gun, and then they shoot again and something gets ejected. That's the casing. So I know you haven't heard of it, but it is a thing. People do it. As I was saying, in World War II, the soldiers or, people in the Air Force would write messages on the bombs that they were going to drop on their targets, whatever they were. So yeah, it is a thing. And this is not the first time. And I asked how long the cartridge was, because yeah, if the cartridge was a 1/2 inch long, then it would be kind of hard. But if it's 2.5 inches, who knows? All he has to write is pro-trans or death to fascists or go Antifa. I mean, it could have been any number of messages that were 2 or 3 words. It would fit on the casing, so that is not an unreasonable assumption to make.
Yeah, 30-06 has plenty of room on the casing. And something else, if you're shooting a bolt action rifle and you take one shot, the cartridge would not automatically eject. A bolt action, you got to pull the bolt up, pull it back to eject the cartridge. So the only way, if there's only one shot, if the guy had a brain in his head and he had a shot that was accurate, he would not have ejected that cartridge. It would have been right in the gun, and when they found the gun, they probably found the cartridge still inside the gun because it's a bolt-action hunting rifle.
They did. That's what the FBI reports.
They found the gun and the casings. The casings in the gun. Like there's still 2 other bullets.
Yeah, I mean that
So
that
the magazine in those rounds, so he was probably using a 700 Remington or something akin to that, maybe a Mossberg, the old style ones. Again, nothing really fancy, nothing elaborate, nothing costly, and basically, you can load the magazine in there, and the bolt will come back, and you can slide it up and some of them have them. Some of them are just you got to feed it one at a time. This is as I look it up more and more, and as people tell me, it's more and more. It's a hunting rifle. It's literally a hunting rifle. It's nothing out of the ordinary, especially out west. There's less forest. Most of the people on the East Coast are used to hunters with shotguns because your biggest shot is 50 yards. Out in the West, they have these things called prairies and mountains and shit. They have to shoot at a considerable more distance to actually take down an animal. So hunting rifles abound throughout the Midwest.
How long is a hunting rifle? Like
depends on the rifle.
Well, I'm saying, like, essentially, like, would he be able to be hiding behind this gun on this roof? Like, this rifle?
First off, the fact that he went onto the roof shows, like, it tells anybody who's ever been in military or had to deal with a deep threat, it tells them that this is an amateur. This is somebody who they got the script from Hollywood. They watched movies and thought this is how it's done. You wouldn't have done it. A true shooter, somebody who is skilled in that, is going to go from a place of concealment, not in a roof where they're open and uncovered. They're going to be inside a building. They're going to be in some kind of hedgerow, someplace that's concealed. Also a place where it muffles the report of the rifle, or at least you can't pinpoint it from the sound. So they're going to look at that. They're also going to look at where the way the sun is resting. And since there was no wind that day, but generally they would check for wind. A 200-yard shot, wind's not going to really be an effective measurement. Like any idiot could do that. You could pull your eyes closed. The other thing is where the shot landed. You could pretty much guess that it's where the pause is when his breathing took place. When you exhale and you go to pull that trigger, he breathed in at that right moment, and he probably upped because most shooters would have aimed center mass. That would probably be the most prolific target. And if he was aiming for a headshot, then he did it on his exhalation. If he did it on, if he was aiming center mass, he did it on his intake or his inhale, and the gun raised up and pulled to the right. Like, I mean, these are not hard concepts, and anybody who's fired a firearm and not watched Hollywood fucking movies and then gave their experience based on Hollywood would actually know these things.
May I just...
Yeah, and one other thing that could happen here too. Typically on hunting rifles, you zero those hunting rifles in at 100 yards, and then there's a ballistics chart that'll give you the drop at say 200, 300, 400 yards. It could have been that he misjudged, but I think Brad's right. It looks to me like he's doing center mass, and he just jerked at the last second. So that's what it looks like. But typically, you zero in at 100 yards, and you compensate for the ballistics of the gun at that point. But we where I live, we have 300 Weatherby's, 30-06s. They're common where I live.
May I just make a point now, because I feel like now we're going a little too into geeky, nerdy conversations about bullets and guns. Just generally speaking about the psychology of where society is at right now. So if whoever this shooter is, the person on the opposite side of the ideology is going to feel like, oh, it's a victory, or it's some sort of, they're going to have this puritanical glee. And then tomorrow the opposite will happen, and then it's the other side's turn to feel that way. So I feel like for instance, even Gandhi or Martin Luther King, they were seen as threats by the opposite side of the ideology, and the person who assassinated them, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know about Martin Luther King, but about Gandhi, I know that it was from the other side. That's what I'm saying. People on the right and left are going to keep taking turns doing the same exact thing, and we're just going to be on this rinse repeat loop cycle. And we're not going to talk about just generally, we're not able to agree on the basic fact that regardless of someone's opinion or how they carry themselves in public life, etc., you cannot kill a man. Now, clearly, we're not being able to agree on that because this has been happening since forever, right? Whenever you see leaders emerge in the public sphere and their ideology is diagonally opposite to yours, you feel like you can kill them. Why? Because you feel like that, because obviously the person who's killing the other person thinks he's right. So in his head, it's justified. and they're morally superior, and it needs to be done, right? Regardless of your ideology, that's what every human being who's doing that crime feels that way. So I think that's what is something very interesting we need to talk about. You would think that today with internet and a lot of hyper communication and debates, people would become a little bit more civil and smarter and a little bit more mature, but we just keep repeating the same thing.
Well, I actually want to take that point, like back to what Serendipity was talking about at the beginning of the room, and that's the fact that anybody who saw the video, Charlie Kirk getting shot, it's probably the first time they ever actually really witnessed like a person being shot, like in that gory of a way. You know, like it's probably the first time they ever saw somebody getting killed. Now, obviously, there's subsets of individuals on the internet who like to, you know, haunt around these more like these gore sites where you see people getting like killed by the cartels and all that stuff. You know, those types of websites are out there. But the types of people that tend to focus around those types of websites are very like sick, twisted, dark-minded individuals. You know, and but most people like they try to avoid being exposed to that kind of stuff. You know, so to the point that I think that Serendipity was trying to make, I think it's gonna fucking jolt a lot of people out of, you know, that tendency, like, you know, the space that gets created between them and other people, like empathically within the web space, you know, because it's like, you know, violence in real life, it's not the same as it is in movies, you know, it's really fucking ugly, you know, and it's like, it's not romantic, you know, it's like to watch a person just go limp like a sack of potatoes, it can like cause like a shock with other people.
Yeah, you would hope that humanity comes through all of the other bullshit, you know, that we're caught up in.
Wait, why are you cutting him off? I don't really give a fuck about India or your perspective from India and what the U.S. should be, but why would you cut him off while he was talking?
Well, I was actually responding to what she was saying. I didn't mind that she cut me off, dude. So, like, at ease, soldier. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that this has the potential, this moment in our history has the potential to fucking go both ways. You know, either people are gonna fucking use this as a way of because I feel like the people that are really leading the charge in this country right now are the moderates and the centrists. Okay. We just don't know it because we don't have there's nobody fucking, people aren't looking for nuance right now, man. What they're looking for is this like extreme, like it's like this pathological, like twisted kind of like I love the word that you use, Lavanya, this puritanical glee, you know, that people, it's like they want their side to win and they're viewing like this political back and forth like it's a fucking sports ball game. You know what I mean? And then like it's all about tit for tat. It's all about scoring fucking points.
I'm gonna have to. I feel like the people leading the country right now are the moderates. I believe that the moderates are some majority of the country, but I don't feel like the moderates are the ones that have the voices in the political offices right now at all.
John, what do you think about this airplane that turned its radar off?
Is that the moderates are.
Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody's investigating and trying to find as much evidence as possible to, you know, Laura Loomer is a dynamite stick. You know, she has brought down countless people. And so, you know, this is the thing is if somebody carries out a terrorist act like that, there's a lot of individuals who are so good at scouring the internet that this young man will be found. And the FBI just released photos of him.
Wait, the shooter?
Yeah.
PTR. That's right.
And you can look at my PTR if you want to see what a terrorist supporter looks like. Her name is Buttercup.
What guy is the one? I don't know who. So it's this old guy, Bart Tippett?
No, it's a young white guy. He's the prime suspect.
Why? What was his motive? What did they bring up for me? Why did this guy? Okay.
Hello, Daddy. How are you?
Oh my God, mother.
You are not Daddy, indeed.
Tori, why did you think I was that friend?
I'm happy to
Okay. Kick him.
Daddy, baby, I am single and I am virgin.
You throw your people out.
Come on, baby, I am alone.
Kick him.
Daddy, I know you very much, Daddy.
Just shut up. This guy looks like a meth head. Why is he so skinny? Maybe it's just like you're.
Wait, I want to know. Wait, which guy is the one?
Looks like he's on like methamphetamines. The way that his mouth, it's like.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Floor. What's up?
Yo, what's good? I'm making ice cream. Haha. Oh, poor bitch. Get the fuck out of this room. Who the fuck is talking?
Why? He's a cool guy. Why did you remove him?
It was literally fighting with me, Fiona, in a room, calling us fag, cocksuckers.
Really?
God knows what else. When he looks like that.
Yeah.
It's so surprising because sometimes you girls are friends with all these men, and then you don't even realize they're actually homophones because when they come to you, they're like all nice and chill.
I'm a homophobe
The moment you
too.
guys leave, yeah. Yeah, this guy. Oh, hey, Stevie.
Hey, my love.
Oh my god, this is gonna jerk off to you now.
It's like, did you unfollow me before?
I'm not jealous, I'm just devastated. I'm disgusting. You can masturbate too if you want. I'm okay. Can we get another guy?
Again, starting off, I knew that after the 08,
My friend!
we're probably headed
My
towards
friend! My friend!
some
I have so
terrible
few
times, but
friends,
at the
my
same time,
friend.
There's like economic issues and people are feeling anxiety about money, like Lavanya said. They start to turn on each other. They start to look for each other's to scapegoat because they know that they can't do anything or they can't even confront the people who are really sitting in the seats of power. And so these figureheads come along, these people with the gift of gab, propagandists.
Nothing. That's not really you in your PTR, is it?
Say,
What's up?
Damn, you are hot, girl.
Thanks.
Where do you live?
I live John for Congress for real. You're running for Congress.
Yep. So wait, where do you live?
I live in California.
Where, Los Angeles?
No, Orange County.
Oh. So what are you doing? You just created a room, you're just chilling out?
I didn't even notice I created one.
Oh, you're chilling, you're having a relaxing day, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
I am also having a relaxing day, icing my foot down, and I'm recording Clubhouse rooms as people make assholes of themselves.
Okay, cool.
My friend down there also thinks you're rather beautiful.
I removed him. I didn't know who that was.
Who, my friend? Oh, you kicked him? Oh, too bad.
Oops.
Oopsie!
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you're doing that well.
I'm laying down. Please help me.
Oh, you're chillaxing.
Chillaxing.
Do you have Instagram?
I do have Instagram.
Let me add you.
No.
Why not?
I have a boyfriend.
Oh, you got a boyfriend?
I do.
Oh, I got a pet goldfish. Let's talk about shit that doesn't matter.
The fuck?
I'm just saying, is your boyfriend like the Holy Spirit? Because I don't see him anywhere.
John, you have the whitest jokes ever. I can't.
They're dad jokes.
Yeah, they're dad jokes for real.
All right, well, I hope you have a great day. And health, wealth, love, peace of mind, happiness, and strength.
You're funny as fuck.
Million followers. It was either on X or social media combined. Does Trump even have that many followers? Does anybody else, any other political figures have that kind of following? That's how influential he was, and he appealed to young kids. This was a political assassination. And the second point, and I'll make it quick, where he left. This idea
John, shut up.
That coming to a conclusion and being able to see both sides.
You dusty bitch.
I understand the rationale for that. Political discussion when your opposition refuses to do the same and is more than willing to come to definitive conclusions such as trans women are real women and abortion rights are health care for women, etc., etc.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All the slogans. This hesitancy I've seen in rooms for the people who lean right to make any kind of conclusion is maddening. It's giving. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you.
I almost lost the train of thought with the thing. So to be fair to King, she's correct that there is on both sides there are explorations there. People like Yarvin who are true Christian nationalists, what was referencing, I think Brett was referencing to. And on the left, there are people who are looking for some sort of socialist or communist utopia at the end of their rainbow. And they're looking to, both of them are Hegelian in nature, meaning that they use dialectical process of conflict theory to expedite the future. So what it means that basically they create a conflict when, two oppositions, they collide, they create a new synthesis, the new conflict arises, the new opposition arises, they conflict them together, and they progress the history towards their goal in this manner. So that's absolutely true that it happens, and there is this ideology, very kind of deep ideology that goes into it. Where I disagree with King is that he was not grassroots. He was absolutely grassroots. I think that's how he started his movement. His intention was to provide community for conservative students on campuses and create a network, which he utilized for obviously political purposes, to create support for the candidates that they would promote. They did not promote, and also, that's very important to understand, like he gets labeled as a Christian nationalist. He's not. Most of the candidates, if you look at the list of who they promoted, they were pretty mainstream, maybe right-wing, maybe right-leaning, but definitely not Christian nationalist figures in the Republican Party. It's a mixed bag in terms of his success. I think in some cases they were successful in installing people that they promoted. In some cases they were not, but he was a very prominent political figure, and I agree that it was definitely a political assassination.
Hey, Beamer, you and Messenger came up on stage. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to agree with Alan. I definitely think,
a lot of the news outlets too. They have professional CIA agents. Well, everybody's saying that it's a professional hit. It was early on as to foreign intelligence. Just listen. There are good former insider. A lot of people are pointing to. I mean, like Alan summed it up perfectly. Nobody else had a captive audience in this country that Charlie Kirk did, and he did an excellent job. 3,500, multiple chapters, 800 chapters. That's huge. That's as big as, or getting onto like political party size state. You know what I'm saying? And this is the youngest minds, high school and college. And look at his followers. Look at how many followers he had over multiple social media. Nobody was compared. Nobody's even comparable to Charlie Kirk. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. You cannot come from millions and millions of. Are you kidding me? The views, the reach. He had a YouTube. He had a radio show. He had all of these things. Insane. Alan was. I agree with Alan, and I also agree with the multiple professionals who are saying that it's professionals. They're not. They're not. Have you watched the latest news briefings? Because Brad made some pretty compelling arguments earlier about why this did not mark up as a professional hit, and the latest news releases have been that this person had transgender and anti-fascist writings written on the cartridge clip things. And they have narrowed down, like, this is a 20-something-year-old college kid, at least if the person in the pictures is accurate. So I think that a lot of the evidence that's coming to light says that it's anything but a professional hit.
Yeah, but it could be this too. It may not be professional, but it could be someone that grew up in a family of hunters that shot long distances, that was familiar with the type of ballistics and the kind of weapon that would be needed. So you could have someone that wanted to probe but was around people that had shot all their life. Where I live, people start shooting at a real young age. They know people that hunt constantly. This was a shot that 90% of the people around where I live could make since they've been about 17, 18.
Right, but I think
community.
By professional hit, FEMA's implying foreign entities.
Right. No, but I'm just saying there's two things that tell me this guy probably grew up around someone that either done this or knew something about it. Number one, the type of weapon. If you're going to shoot and you want to be accurate, unlike the guy in Pennsylvania that used 223. No, you're going to go for a larger cartridge, 308, 30 out 6.
30 caliber.
That
would have looked this hole in his neck, so we know it wasn't that. I put a huge.
Well, you don't know.
The memo says that the gun that was found was a 30-06.
So
you don't know, because a 30-06, the cavity you're going to produce with the 30-06, it depends on the tissue where it entered and the cavity. A 30-06 has a lot of energy. If you'd hit someone in the neck, I don't know if you've ever killed anything with a 30-06.
Well, I'm gonna shoot you myself, right?
Wait, guys. One of the things I want to say too is that the bullet, he was not shot in the neck. He was shot in the chest, but he had protective armor on, and it ricocheted up. So that's gonna.
Well, I say this: he hit the artery because the amount of blood coming out had to be his neck. That was the blood gush.
Of course.
It was confirmed that. Was that
I would be cautious on a lot of the vests. Like, a lot of people have this, they don't have an idea of like what levels of vests there are out there. There are some vests, and just to dumb it down for like the baseline people that get their information from Hollywood, there's vests that will take one round. Like, they're designed to take a high caliber one round and break apart. The plates will snap, and it'll absorb that. Doesn't guarantee it's going to stop it, but it'll absorb that, and then it's done. It's a one-shot vest. That's it.
That's true.
There are other vests that'll take smaller caliber rounds. in mass, and they'll come through, and they'll absorb, hopefully block or at least slow down, deflect, block some of that impact. Unless you have steel plates in there, and even then, steel plates will be a little different category. So the vests don't necessarily. Watching the video, it does not. I do not get the impression that the impact originally was targeted to the chest. It looks like it hit directly into the neck. I don't see that impact point on the chest. Serendipity, he would have had a different reaction with his body in terms of that. It would have knocked him back, and he would have went inward. This didn't happen, so I don't think that conspiracy holds any weight to it. Anybody who's watching it just can see that it just doesn't look like there was that impact went to the chest.
So if there would have been a round at that high of a caliber, even if it was true that he had a one-shot vest, the fragmentation would have hit other people. We would have seen that. I don't see how that much force, if he did get hit, would only ricochet into his neck. No, that round, it would have splattered, it would have splintered, it would have created fragmentation. And if it would have ricocheted or any fragmentation, you would have seen that, and other people would have gotten hit as well. There's bullets.
Not only that, a 30-06, the amount of energy on impact a 30-06 has. If a 30-06 round hits you in the chest, your chest is going to move. You're not just going to sit there.
You got a lot in your chest.
Yeah, you got a lot of energy from a 30-06. I shot a deer one time with a 30-06, hit it kind of high, took the deer off its feet. So let me tell you, you're not going to get hit in the chest with a 30-06 and your chest not move. The fact is, that didn't happen. Plain and simple. Anyone's ever shot that gun?
So you think it was a direct hit to the neck?
Yeah, it was a direct.
Yeah, you're not going to take a 30. Like I say, I shot a deer with a 30-06. I caught him kind of high on the chest, above the chest cavity, up towards the back of the deer. It blew the deer off his feet, and you're telling me that Charlie Kirk? Yeah, it went through, but the point is, it delivered enough energy high enough on the deer, and probably the deer wasn't standing on all four legs when I hit him. He's probably a little off balance, but it blew him off his feet. You're not going to get hit with a 30-06 round in the chest, and your chest not moved. That ain't happening.
Well, let me throw this point out too, because I actually did go through, because a 30-06, I don't know the percentage, but I'll say 80% of the time it's going through because it has that much force. If you shot him in the neck with all that soft tissue, no bone.
I didn't see. She was in here earlier, and then she left because everybody.
Would that be fair to make sense? It might be the top part of it.
Say that again. Say that again.
So I didn't make this time title, bro. The energy behind it is usually through and through.
I don't know. I agree with you, bro. It's exactly what she wants. And I saw her come into the room earlier. I didn't invite her up. I don't know who brought her up. I did. I don't
straight through.
want to waste my time engaging with somebody so stupid.
Well, yeah, it could have went straight through, but it may not have hit anything, and the energy of it could just blow right through and not hit anything.
I don't see radio or guys. I'll leave it up to serendipity. I think she does it on purpose. She loves getting people pissed off. And exactly, she's essentially wants to be the center of attention.
Let her know that, like, that 36 to a chest.
She did a very good job of
I know there's a lot of conspiracies. I mean, you're just, you're talking 1,500 yards is, I think, the record for a shot with a 30-06, and that was in World War II. So, I mean, Charlie Kirk is not sitting at 200 yards and just sitting there calmly, still in the chest. Like, he's not going to be standing there or sitting there after that impact if it hit the chest. Like, it's just not going to happen. And more than likely, it wouldn't have gone up into his neck like that. It's going to absorb it. It doesn't really ricochet it off like that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because they've got like slow-mo videos out there showing, and it does look like there's. But it makes sense to me that like if there had been chest impact, there would have been damage from said impact if there was a ricochet as far as like even a hole in his shirt. but there's slow-mo video that actually you see the chest protection literally rise up.
Your opinion, you think whatever you want.
At 200 yards, this is not any great distance. It's not like you need to be skilled. You don't have to account for wind. You don't have to account for gravitational forces, heat rises, thermal maps, the rotation of the Earth, the Cornelius effect. You don't have to apply any of these things to this kind of shooting scenario. So listing these out, you're looking at just a direct putting it on there. I'm willing to bet this scope is either sighted from 50 to 100 yards, and it's a hunting rifle. And again, it looks like even the photo, it looks like the kid's got a string beam neck. Like there's no muscle mass on this kid whatsoever. I'm doubting that there's any military training. I doubt that there's absolutely nothing about this indicates a professional hit. Professionals wouldn't operate this way. It's just not like Hollywood.
And he does look like a kid. If the video footage that they're showing a picture of, he definitely does look like a 20-something.
Adverse consequences.
I have an innocent question. I'm not
asking
sassy or anything, so if you want to get personal with me just for asking this question, please come
Yeah,
down.
also,
I'm just wondering,
on that, people saying a lot of dumb shit, like he's pro-gun, so he is already got a lot of guns and shit.
But shouldn't there be
Being
like
pro-gun is not pro-death or pro-murder.
things that you're talking about, the kind of gun it was, the fact that he wasn't a professional shooter?
He was not.
Shouldn't there?
And if we're setting the metric now, the standard now that being racist is epidemic, then that's why leftists that need to die. Now the activists that need to die. But I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying that would be a stupid standard for someone to say that he's racist or he deserves or should be killed, some stupid shit like that. We're at a sensitive point in society where we are accepting extremes to be the norm. And I think people really have to choose that because this opened the door for all of us to be targeted to this particular extreme, to being killed. And, so say, oh, that person said such a thing, because we see it all the time with lesser crimes, such as these one, because they allegedly said the word some racist. And now we put it out to where we can just say they're racist, give you a few clips out of context, and just deem that to be the case, because we feel that way. And that's what it really boils down to. If we feel like you should die, then you should die next week. And I think that is a terrible standard to have. And I know many people believe that too, but because there's somebody that you don't like that, you're willing to change who's offended or ignore them because it favors your position at this point in time. If Charlie Kirk was sitting here celebrating the death of the various blacks that died that's on social media, we would be like, yo, dude, these, why are you feeling this way towards these people that's going through these things? Like, you're so apathetic and that's not warranted. But meanwhile, we're doing the opposite. Not we yet. But the lot of doing the opposite where somebody don't like that. And instead of just being indifferent, instead of like, hey, let these people mourn, just decide, it's not a good look for anyone, you embellish it, you amplify it, you advocate for it. It's like, okay, you do know that this could come back to bite your ass, but people don't care. I think we have a kamikaze death cult society to where we are just
Oh, were you done for you, or did you cut off, brother?
Did he break? Yeah, I think. Sorry, no, I think my Bluetooth switched over and it didn't. Sorry, but just nip it in the bud. But I'm just saying that I can't remember exactly verbatim what I said. But the bottom line is, I think we have this death cult society where we're going kamikaze that we're willing to tear things down even if it kills us in the process. Long time today.
I'm sorry.
When you're ready. Yeah, go ahead, Reinhardt. You got it. And I know John, Quan, and Dira joined too. So yeah, you guys can go in after Reinhardt if you guys want to chime in. But go ahead, Reinhardt, you got it.
Thank you for your time. So yesterday, news broke out. The news actually broke out a month ago that sources leaked to Harrison Smith from Infowars that Charlie Kirk was fearing his life against Israel. That Israel might kill him if he started to turn against him. And Charlie Kirk, he actually was criticizing Israel a lot these last few months. And I put all the tweet, I put it in the comments. It's a bunch of links to. He talked about Epstein being a Mossad agent, which is crazy. He said, yeah, Epstein has ties to Israel and Mossad, and was doing blackmail operations on our politicians and shit. That's crazy for Charlie Kirk to say. And that got stuck under the rug. He said that. He also said that Jew leftist organizations are the ones facilitating mass immigration into white countries, and they're anti-white. And they're making, that's very significant.
Reinhardt, I spoke to you about 3 o'clock East Coast time. We're not going to do that. No.
What?
I told you about 3 o'clock this morning, East Coast time.
Okay.
Explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open-border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist cultural institutions and non-profits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges, it's the non-profits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, all of it.
Is the fact we should
It's
be able
time for you guys to wake up and say no more.
And then you sit down and figure out whether you believe it or not. This is the man didn't say 100% that the Jews did it. He didn't say. He's just saying that
he came across earlier.
It was on Fox News.
Hold on, Sarah. Hold on. Let KP respond, Sarah. 1 second. Go ahead, KP. Sorry.
And see, we can hash this out. No, that came on and said earlier that Jews were 100% behind it. And I stopped him earlier, about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock this morning, in a room. I said, hey, if you have solid proof that they did something, then say it. We don't know who did it or why they did it. So I don't want this stuff to be out there of hypotheticals, because no detective sat down and got the truth yet.
Good news. Oh, yeah.
So let's
we rolled back the ban on gain-of-function research. Really. So now it's legal for us to modify viruses and make them more deadly.
We don't want to speculate.
You know that whatever they tell us.
You want around city.
Yeah, I wasn't there for the 3 o'clock morning discussion, but as far as right now, what's going on now is that it doesn't come off as very
Just asking for a moment of prayer.
Come across the links, get some information, and take a look at it. But yeah, I'll give everybody.
I wanted to make video.
As you guys have been watching the news, there's conflicting reports all around the globe. Literally all around the globe. Israeli.
We got a right to share whatever information, and we got to be smart enough to be able to discern what
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that Jewish communities have been pushing the exact behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. There's another article on the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what?
That video with Megyn Kelly, and he was like,
what are you doing? Like, why are you? What am I doing? I'm sorry.
I think it's crazy. I think it's plausible. Like, his audience was turning against Israel. He did a whole video, like a focus group with his Turning Point captains and shit, and they were all against Israel, and he had to like soothe their worries and stuff. Like, yeah, we'll work on these things with Israel. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly this way.
When I just saw Bibi,
I think that's why they killed him. I think it's possible that they didn't want his organization, his audience, to turn anti-Zionist, to turn anti-Israel. They wanted to solidify his legacy, like how it is now. I think that's my theory.
So I just saw on Fox News, Bibi Netanyahu, he mourning the death of Charlie Kirk and praising him. And maybe I'm misunderstanding this conversation is going on here right now, but I was under the impression that Charlie Kirk was pro-Israel. But are you trying to say that that's not true?
Yeah, he was pro-Israel in there, but the last few weeks, there's a bunch of clips you can find out because they're starting to really circulate. He was questioning some of the narrative coming from Israel. Like one of the big things he questioned was the October 7th attack and whether that there were internal orders for IDF soldiers to stand down. And he was saying when he visited Israel, you couldn't walk 20 feet without running into an IDF soldier. And everything was surveillance, everything was locked down. So he said that, he's heard from some inside sources that it's possible Israel knew about back ahead of time, put a stand down order to let Hamas do the attack so they'd have a reason to go ham on Hamas in Gaza and stuff. So again, speculation. This is coming from Charlie Kirk, and these are one of the questions that he was starting to ask once more information came across his desk.
So since I just got in here, I just kind of want to give my perspective on what happened to Charlie Kirk. I saw him at CPAC when I was at the National Harbor earlier this year, and when I learned the news yesterday that he had been shot, I just started praying because I just felt like
Pritzker is doing a tremendous job on behalf of the people
and so
in the great state of Illinois and his
and then once I looked at that video, up close video, I'm sure some of you have seen it. There was no way. There was absolutely no way. I knew he was going to be. I mean, that blood came gushing out like fire. I've never seen anything like it. And as a black person that is a Republican, and I'm very vocal about my politics, it's a dangerous time.
Salient to Charlie Kirk, who obviously,
especially a black. It's a dangerous time to be a Republican because my car.
But what for us? Well, everything has changed.
And
if we didn't know it already, there is no longer any middle ground. Some of the American left are undoubtedly well-meaning people.
Our country was founded on common law because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times. The Constitution doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions for anything else. 1313 required a declaration of faith in almost every single one of the original state constitutions. They had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Secondly, 55 and 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were by the believing church of any Christians. You asked about common law. Let's go to 3 principles of common law. Presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical.
Charlie Kirk, the president. Can y'all still hear me?
Loud and clear, yeah.
The president of the United States. Other, very, visible, vocal Republicans, conservatives, they're targets. And, after I learned that Charlie had passed, I said, I think I need to pull back. I need to pull back on how I talk on Facebook in spaces like this. But I decided, no, I'm not, because that's what they want. Not doing it. That's all I want to say. Thank you for holding this room, Steve.
Can I say that?
Yeah, let the professor. I know the professor. Hold on one second. The professor, you got the mic now.
Yeah, it was on Washington Post that was saying that there were phrases related to cultural issues on the rifle that he had, and I believe it's Matt said it was Fox News that said they are saying it's related to transgender, military, all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, people can think or say whatever they want. I'm talking. I don't know who's opening their mic. I haven't finished. You're right. We can say whatever. Like, people can think whatever. I get all of that. But
this dude was absolutely not anti-Israel. Israel doesn't hunt people down for criticizing them. This is insane for people, and I would think they will catch this guy today. He will be caught today, and we'll know what the motive was. So I don't understand. Horrible. You give thumbs down. We all know you hate Jews. You're not anti-Semite. You hate Jews. Your problem is not with Israel. You hate every Jew. You just call me Arab.
Israel doesn't hunt down people who criticize them. That's hilarious.
Arab in the chat.
That is hilarious.
I'm telling you because I'm telling you. Wait for it to come out. But
one second, guys. Let Sarah finish her point. You guys can rebut. Go ahead, Sarah.
yeah, that was all I was gonna say. We still don't know if there was a relationship between the cultural stuff written on the rifle and the motive. We don't know that, but we do know there was cultural issues written on the rifle. That's on the news, released by FBI.
All right, Red Man, what's going on? Welcome to the stage.
Yeah, he was questioning Israel. He was. That's a fact. And to question Israel doesn't mean you're anti-Jew. That's bull. I'm not gonna hear that no more. You can't use that no more. That logic doesn't fly. And Israel doesn't silence critics. Okay, that's hilarious. That's all I ask.
Hey, Mods, this is John. I'd like to be put in the queue.
Yeah. I'll let John go first, and then Dopey go next. What's going on, John? Good morning, bro. Or good afternoon, man. Good to see you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I put a lot of links in the chat because I did look on X. Somebody said, the Megyn Kelly interview. So he's blaming liberal, Democrat, Marxist, socialist, communist Jews in this country for our open borders and all these NGO nonprofit scams. He's not attacking Israel. Israel's rather conservative compared to America. So it's not anti-Zionism. In fact, he was writing a book about the Shabbat. He loves Jews, and I put the receipts in the chat. So all you Israel haters out there that think that they're genocidal maniacs and you can't be further from the truth, you're wrong. Charlie Kirk was assassinated most likely by a leftist, liberal, Democrat, psychopath murderer. And all you have to do is go to Politically Correct in Patty's room where you can hear them saying Charlie Kirk got what he deserved. People on this app are sociopathic, psychopathic, and homicidal ideators. You all hear it all the time. People are glorifying his death. People are singing songs about his death. They're happy that he's been murdered because he's able to defeat them in debate. And when you can't win in a debate, what do you do in clown world? You blow their fucking head off because that's all that liberal, Democrats, socialists, Marxists, communists have been doing throughout history is murdering people who stand up against their bullshit rhetoric. I am complete. Thank you.
Yeah, so John kind of made a good point there. The idea that Charlie was targeted by Israel, the country in the middle of a war, they had to, and they're hunting down Houthis and fucking Hamas terrorists. They had to make their way to target Charlie Kirk because he was not as gung-ho about Israel as Ben Shapiro, I guess. That's the argument that some of these people are making. So they'll have to get over the fact that Charlie was due to visit Israel and he accepted an invitation to visit Israel for January. He was literally making pro-Israel comments throughout almost every single tour. During almost every single campus he was going through during the tour he got killed on. So if he's supposedly turning anti-Israel, I think it would be easier, one, for Israel to try and convince him and try to pay him, because that's what these anti-Israel activists say is already going on. They're paying Charlie Kirk. Maybe they should have just ramped up the payments, or maybe that wouldn't have worked, I guess. So their only solution was to shoot him out in broad daylight, and that would totally fix the problem they're dealing with. Shoot Charlie Kirk in broad daylight and make sure that everybody can see it. And once that happens, for some reason, everyone's going to love Israel now. Yeah. And instead of having Charlie Kirk, the most pro-Israel person at Turning Point USA, continue to be the person leading Turning Point USA, kill him in public. Because Israel is Israel, and they do Israel things because it makes Israel sense, or whatever the fuck.
Well, I was going to mention this, the same organization, Mossad, who planted explosives inside of pagers and infiltrated Iran 5 months earlier and set up drones as, Mossad soldiers, agents, and shit like that. They're in Iran and planned the attack in Iran. That same group couldn't get to Charlie Kirk with some type of poison that doesn't register on like a test. They couldn't come in and like put something in his water bottle and let it just like fucking drop dead. Nobody able to figure it out. It's definitely somebody that's at 200 yards away with a bolt action rifle and fucking shot him because that was their only fucking chance. That was their only opportunity to get Charlie Kirk, the evil Nazi piece of shit that they hate. But the complex fucking Mossad who orchestrates global events definitely couldn't fucking kill him in another fucking less obvious way.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not buying the Mossad or Israel. I'm not buying it. I think it's
sick. You remember the KGB, but they did the umbrella shit? Remember when they did the umbrella? When they walked up and like touched the back of his fucking cap and a fucking piece of fucking metal lit into a ball, went into his fucking skin, and it fucking he was dead in like an hour. Like, you don't think Mossad has that capability to just go in and like put something in there with the
say it again.
Yeah, so the KGB, there was a guy back in like the 70s or 80s. They had a fake umbrella, and the guy was walking with the umbrella, and in front of him was somebody they wanted to kill, and he just reached forward and
stuck him in the back of his leg.
Yeah, stuck him in the back of his leg, and it injected this little ball that had like uranium or some shit like that, and he was dead within like an hour. Like, Mossad doesn't have that capability to come in with a hypodermic needle and stick it into one of Charlie Kirk's water bottles. I mean, they implanted fucking explosives into fucking pagers. You don't think they could go to fucking Walmart and just or anything? Like, wait till a Walmart delivery goes to this fucking house and inject fucking some type of shit into this water and kill them. They have that ability. But no, they have to sit with a fucking bolt action rifle, probably fucking Cabela's to fucking shoot 200 yards out.
No, that's. If you look at the rifle, that was probably from the 70s. It looks like a Win Mag or a 30-06 Remington. Yeah, it's a 30-06, sure. Okay.
Which one are you guys talking about? The wood grain one?
Yes, and I have a couple of them, and I'm trying to find the patterns on it.
So the wood grain one was a different guy that was in Provo, Utah.
Continuing to dry.
The one that they found was down Charlie Kirk.
You shall not fear justice. Your original report, which is Leviticus 19, which is the idea of blind justice, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal. Neither slave nor man nor Jew, you are all one in Jesus Christ, and we have human equality. These are all biblical ideas, but more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any others. The body politic of America was so Christian that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believe in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
Yeah, it was, right?
The bullets matched it.
Okay. I haven't seen the common law. I haven't seen the image of that.
And I can tell you I'm super blessed. I had the best wife in the world, with an amazing life, building a family is the coolest thing ever. And my prayer for all of you is that one day can do that.
With like curly hair and a ball cap on.
It's honestly the most joyful thing. And I've had some pretty amazing experiences. I'm very, very blessed. Very lucky, you could say, but very blessed is the word I would use. And the greatest joy I've ever had is coming home to my little daughter growing up in my life. There's nothing that even comes close to it. Not flying on Air Force One, not meeting with presidents. That's all that pales in comparison to your little girl coming up and squeezing your leg. And I can tell you I'm super blessed. I have the best wife in the world. We have an amazing life. Building a family is the coolest thing ever. And
they sound like a subsonic rap.
Okay, everybody, the South Park episode just dropped, and honestly, it is hilarious. I mean, part of it is kind of like whatever, it's so humor, but it was hilarious. Just watch this little snippet of our Prove Me Wrongs, our viral cultural domination on prime time on Comedy Central. So important, so impactful that South Park is highlighting.
They have an image of the guy who's in like the stairwell.
If anyone around here is going to be a master debater, it's me. So let's go. Who wants to debate the man?
But he's got a very distinct American flag.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it.
Once they figure out what that image is, it's an American flag.
that Trump cannot run.
Looks like a bald eagle or some shit like that, but it's got like a very distinct image. Like
I'm just flesh and bone,
so,
but more
they're
importantly,
definitely
I'm
going to be
soul.
able to run it through some like
And
image search
that
shit
soul
to figure out what the image is on his chart.
Unbelievable.
And then once they do that, then they can reverse search
doing
and
this
find
now
out
12 years.
that shirt is
Such a young
Potter, Molasses,
so Chris, I've been all across the world. I've met
Your ass is good.
You're looking for the phone.
Yeah, I got it too.
Because when I saw that shot, I said, he's dead.
Oh yeah, my wife said the same thing. She said, before you hit the ground, he was dead.
The way he cleansed up and everything, all that Kool-Aid was coming out. I said, yeah, he's done. But they had to wait until, talk to family and all that stuff before it's released to the press.
That's not me. That's not me. We're talking at the same time.
Good morning.
It's not me. You're just jealous that I'm on TV, you big stupid dummy.
John, we're having a conversation.
I'm sorry. I thought Point was interrupting you.
So when the Utah governor said it, then 15 minutes later, our president came out and said he's gone. Like, shit, we already knew he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, seeing this person left the rifle in the woods, and there's an image of him. There's footprints. There's also palm prints, all this kind of shit. I mean, he's definitely gonna get left shots. It wasn't some fucking secret fucking pro Mossad agent, because they would have disappeared. We would have never heard anything about it, and it would have just went away.
Yeah, you're gonna be cooked. You got footprints. Of course, they're gonna find your shoes. You got fingerprints on the rifle. You're done.
Yeah, DNA,
now we just need to know the why. That's it. Why?
You wanna guess on why?
I thought they said
Charlie Kirk is a Nazi and a piece of shit.
I thought they said that there was engravings on or messages about LGBTQ on the grass that they found with the gun.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Casings.
Over that.
There were political messages on the round, and then they found out with the 30-06 that was wrapped in cloth.
I heard anti-fascism and trans. That's what the messages, whatever it was.
That's exactly on the bullets. That's right.
Yeah, the release. The bottom line is this is the time that all Americans should come together and feel and mourn what happened. Violence affects so many different people. So many different
Transgender and anti-fascist.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
The Kitover rifle, the one that was used to assassinate Charlie Kirk. So they found that, and they found 3 rounds inside of the magazine. It was an old Mauser 30-06. For those of you who don't know, 30-06 is a big fucking round. Big fucking round.
White-tailed duck. White-tailed duck.
They're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind.
I'll be honest.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh.
It's a World War II rifle, and most of the time they're just shooting with iron sights.
You have released the whirlwind, and you.
I love your generation. You're played it Call of Duty, and I'm like, who you hunt in the woods with 30-06 or 30-30? Like, that's like, if you ever played Call of Duty.
No, bro, most of my years were the World War II version of the 30-06. It's just the old ass sniper rifle.
Technically missed though, because he barely hit his neck.
No, he didn't actually hit that. The Spalding hit the Kevlar vest. And then it went up and it's sprayed up. It went up into his vest from the
Kevlar. Trying to kill somebody and you aim, like say you're aiming for the neck and you hit the neck. If you miss high, you hit the head. If you miss low,
this is why. No, Kevlar vest. This is why you buy pictures. You buy the anti-Spalding. So it was a bounce up.
take it. I mean, take your Benjamin Crumpasses and find another rallying point because this one's not going to get it.
I need to add a bit of nuance to this. So,
Sarah and Canadian, and we don't really get anything from you guys anyway.
Yeah, right. Good morning, Brad. Having my first coffee here. Hey, yeah. So, but here's the thing, Serendipity. Like, if a white person does something horrible, it does look better if you're like, fuck yeah, this person's horrible. I don't like people like that, right?
Right.
What I'm talking about is this, right? It's much better. It's much better to do that, right? So, it's an interesting thing. I went on a tour of the old Jewish quarters in Prague's Czechoslovakia, right? Or sorry, now it's Czech Republic. And it was really interesting because I took an in-depth tour of some of their buildings, basically community centers. And there was a bunch of laws that what my guide showed me. And these are really old, archaic laws, right? But well, not everybody may know this, but the Jews were, very much treated like shit and kind of kept away from the rest of the Prague culture. They were at 9 o'clock at night. They weren't allowed out, blah, blah, blah. But what was interesting is anytime a Jewish person did something wrong, for example, this was considered wrong back in 16th century Prague, so keep that in mind. But if he was like walking down the street hand in hand with like a non-Jewish girl, right? His punishment that he would receive from within his own tribe, from the Jewish people, was far more severe than the punishment that the Christians would put on that young Jewish boy, right? Because the Jews knew human nature, humans being stupid and generalizing, that if he was caught, their whole community would be generalized by the Czechs, right? The Czechs would say, oh, look at these guys, look what they're doing, it's so wrong. So in that manner, the entire community really, it's not fair, but what I'm saying is that they understood human nature very well. Right? They understood human nature well. So what I'm saying is it's a much better look. For example, I'm a white guy. If some white person does something stupid, I'm really going to disavow them because I don't want fucking non-white people thinking I'm sticking up for idiots in my own community, whatever. I don't really consider myself part of the white community, but you know what I mean? So you do have to juggle that kind of other people's impressions of your community, right? Because when it
No, you.
Yeah, I think you do. Because
you
I don't. I think that's just like saying I need to have white guilt. I should be guilty because I want
No, it's not white guilt. It's different.
Hold on, I'll tell you how racist everybody else is. Let me sit down. You sound like the liberal cock that you're coming off. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll hold smoke for the same for every fucking degenerate there is.
Oh, I do too.
No, you don't. You just told us you don't. You hold it more for white people. Like you are more racist than anybody else on the stage.
No. You don't understand the nuance of what I'm saying.
I get your nuance. You're racist.
Well, I understand how you're trying to be nuanced, but at the end of the day, in the most extreme example, what you're describing is exactly why people rationalize that I should have white guilt. Yes, that's an extreme example of where you're going with that, but it is nonetheless, it does nonetheless make the same point. I feel like I have a duty to condemn acts of violence, to condemn things that are morally wrong to me, but I don't feel like I have a duty to take on an accountability because I happen to share the same skin color, the same way I would not expect any community to take on accountability. And that's kind of been the whole premise for why I've made this whole argument about this isn't a left and right issue. This is a sick motherfucker psychotic issue. And
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You can't
what's your
argument going about, I guess, morality based on how other people think of you. No, you go on the route to be moral because it is good to be moral, not because of another group. That would be like me as a black man joining all the idiots praising his staff for saying, oh, that man was mentally ill, he shouldn't be prosecuted or criminally charged for stabbing someone. No, both of these acts are immoral.
So this is considered by many to be the greatest French clock ever made by the greatest eboniste to ever live, Francois Lincoln. He first conceived of this idea of the design in 1890 and spent 10 years making this clock. He debuted at the 1900 World Fair. This World Fair in particular was super important, not just for France, but all the world. It was marking a new century. You know, we aren't in the past, we're new. And you see that in every element of this design. He was taking, Louis XV was really in his training, but he was putting Art Nouveau spin on it. It is so elaborate. It was exceptionally expensive to make. It was like 22,900 francs to make, which would be 8 years of an average laborer's wages.
And we understand that.
Just to make it. So this is considered by many to be the greatest French clock ever made by the greatest.
These fire trucks with their sirens on came up the front. Stunning.
And it makes our community look a lot better. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's logical. I'm not saying feelings of guilt, like feeling like, oh, I have to be responsible for everyone. But it is kind of a smart social thing to do. And then, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but if you think that it's not clear in another person's mind that one is only responsible for their own personal actions and not that of
We have breaking news. Conservative activist Charlie.
Let me ask you. You're assuming that guilt upon yourself in a fabricated way.
No, but what it is you're just taking in. I'm not assuming their particular guilt. I'm assuming that human beings are irrational and they do generalize things. You know, I have a different way of looking at things. I mean, you guys disagree, that's fine.
No,
it's like the old Italian.
Not that definition of the word assume. I mean, yeah, written it upon you transfer it upon yourself.
Yeah, you're not transferring it upon yourself. You're saying, look, for example, what was it? I don't know, like the Italians. Like back in the day, if one dumb Italian kid does something stupid, the whole family would come and apologize for what that kid did. Or the entire family would come and apologize for the actions of what their father did or something like that and ask for forgiveness from the other family. I think there's reasons that they do it. I'm not saying
I understand that.
Yeah,
we all got these, Matthew. So I understand that, and right, like families, you're talking a long time ago, and families apologizing for the acts of their families. But we're not talking about families, right? We're talking about like the idea that an Italian or a black person or a Jewish person or a white person should feel accountable for the actions of a lone wolf. I'm not following the logic in that whatsoever.
No, I think that human beings have evolved. Have they become more sophisticated, more nuanced? Do we no longer generalize?
Why did you push this there? Like, you could have just left it off and said, all right, you're Canadian. It's a retarded take. We get it. You're patronizing. You're white killed. You're Robin D'Angelo.
In the last Canadians have had the worst take on these sort of events. I've just noticed anecdotally, but look, what you said, it makes perfect sense if it were an Italian village during the Renaissance of 600 people population, but it doesn't make sense.
But we have the information, sir. We have the media now, right?
So, Matthew, here's kind of the problem with the ideology because we are kind of lagging.
I'm all in this.
It only works in times of the past. That's the only time that works because there was really a moral system. We don't exist then. Okay? Like, your argument is basically, I'm not going to be moral because I want to be moral. I'm going to be moral because I fear irrational humans. We don't exist in those times anymore. People are still irrational, yes, but we exist in a time where you don't have to accept it. I do not have to accept irrational behavior of the so-called community that I come from. Neither do you, neither do the Indians, neither do the Malaysians. No one has to accept that. We have had those times. And whether you agree with or not, it doesn't matter that humans are still rational. I have the choice to not be around people like that. That is the difference. When people are rational, you can make sure they're not around you before they exist. Now it does. So your argument falls apart because those times we lived in during our ancestors, those times are gone. If you make a decision based on that, it's on you, not anyone else.
Are you sure about that? The times are done. Well, I just think that one of the things that I try to do is not assign special otherness to myself in response or reactions to other people's generalizations or what have you. Like, just keep the focus on yourself. You know, if you are a person who wants to be, I'll say walk in the light, quote unquote, if you want to respect people as for who they are and not think that they're somehow a world different from you because they are not classified racially in the same way as you, which again, these racial classifications, they change depending on where you are in the world. So I think that, just try to be focus on you, and because definitely whenever these issues come up, I remind myself that none of us is special. And everything that you're accusing me of, because there are consequences, right, Isaac? There are consequences, and people still feel those consequences. I think that it's not by happenstance that these groups are taking situations like this as a signal to resume the position that they had. It's like somebody pushed the pause button in 1965, and these people, these different groups have somehow said, okay, let's play. Let's push play now. We're going to resume exactly where we stopped off. Let's go to a black neighborhood and march. Or let's go to, calling a bomb threat to a HBCU or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just kind of what it is. But we can't, I don't look at myself and say, I deserve that because there's crime in the world. I don't say that I deserve for my city to be invaded because there's crime in the world, as if there's not crime every place else. Like, I just feel like people got to stop assigning this specialness and remember that you are the fucking same. Like, all of these issues you experience, and stop wanting to assign it to a person's skin, because we can have allyship regardless of what we're classified as racially. We can still live in the same communities. Oftentimes we do, and we get on the internet behind this anonymity and talk all kind of crazy. But moving around every day with people who look different than us, hopefully. Although I know that a lot of people live in very segregated environments, but
the point I was making wasn't really to speak about black people. The point I was making was just to further what I was saying, which is I am not going to act based on the irrationality of other people. I've never done that. I have always acted on what I believe was rational. And if I was wrong, I went back to make sure that I recommended that. That's how I've always done things. And it wouldn't matter if I'm black, Asian, white, Latino. That's who I am as a person. There's this saying to ask and explain about other people are rational. That is not my